that means it's hard to draw a seal on the jars. And it seems like there are millions and millions of these jars out there in the world that only react with the food saver vacuum packing. It'll work fine in boiling water and all of that, but not the food saver. So I'm just fighting each jar as we go along.
Yeah,
but I'm making it work.
No, that's good. How many mason jars is in a pallet?
A lot. It's 6 in a.
I'm curious.
A lot of jars, Joe, and the lids and the seals and all of that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to visualize it, and I'm having a rough go because that's got to be a ton of jars. Good Lord.
It's a lot of jars. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, when I say publicly that I don't think the country's coming back, these services are not going to snap back after a year. We're talking about a lot of food, a lot of time, a lot of months, a lot of rebuilding.
Well, of course.
And you're not going to go in your backyard and plant some seeds and then have a food supply growing in your backyard. You can make a couple of 3 sandwiches out of that, but unless you have acres of food, you're not going to be able to do it. It's going to have to be a collective effort.
Well, I agree. There's definitely going to have to be some collectivism. Now, one of the callers earlier said that, that perhaps it would be safer in neighborhoods where the people kind of banded together. And I'm kind of on the fence about that, and I'll tell you why. Because when you live in the like suburbs or even metropolitan areas, while it would be nice for you to be able to get everybody together and sing Kumbaya and you're all on the same page, just to me it's not a reality, It would be nice, but I don't think that that mentality is there or present in that collective environment. Now, if you were to tell me, okay, yeah, you live out in the country and, your 10 closest neighbors, yeah, okay, that I would have more of a I would tend to believe that more, only because as you move out from the metropolitan areas, people tend to have a different view of things because life is simpler out there, and they haven't lost a lot of the old ways, I guess you could say, Griff. What do you think? I mean, I would think the best bet would be to get out while you still can.
Well, there's something to be said for being surrounded by other people. Once people realize what the name of the game is, I think under fire they're more apt to come together, not to protect their neighbor, but to protect themselves ultimately.
Uh-huh.
I don't think you'd be able to pull it off now. People wouldn't listen to you.
No.
But once the shooting starts, I think they might.
Right.
See, in metropolitan areas, we expect roving gangs to come down on neighborhoods with automatic weapons in numbers.
And why wouldn't they? Yeah, why wouldn't
they? And sweep the houses.
Right.
And if the people could stand up to that with shotguns, maybe it would be the thing to do. Do you think?
It's a survival of the fittest mentality. At that point, and are you going to be the fittest?
Well, right now, what are the chances of you walking through Detroit in the daytime and coming out the other side?
It depends. Am I armed or not?
It doesn't matter. Joe, you wouldn't make it from one side to the other.
Man, I think I'd be just fine.
I don't think so.
I'm telling you, man, sunny Detroit, I wouldn't
Joe,
mind.
they would cut your throat ear to ear and hang you up
part,
on a telephone pole.
What part of Detroit? Detroit's a big city. Well, maybe not so much anymore, but it used to be a big city.
Okay, I'll give you another one right here in Richmond, Virginia. I'll take you downtown right now and put you on the end of the main street and tell you to walk to the other end. You wouldn't make it.
I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole, man. I know Richmond.
You wouldn't make it in any city on the East Coast.
Oh, come on, man. You have little faith.
That's right.
I would be just fine. I used to deliver cold cuts in Brooklyn and the Bronx in the dead of the night. no problems. It's cool, man. Not a big deal.
Right.
Richmond, walk in a park. I'd blend right in. You wouldn't even know I was there.
Not unless you had your jum in your sock.
That's all right.
You know, jum is a street word. It's a noun. It can mean anything from gun to knife to. It's kind of a universal word, and all the street people have their jums. They wouldn't go out without their jum in their sock.
Now, I will tell you this, that life as we know it, and I don't know if you've noticed this, Griff, but have you noticed that it's kind of been like a sine wave of if you take a look at history, and especially like in the urban areas, right in the 60s, the 70s, maybe the early part of the 80s, the inner cities were really, really, really bad, and they started to kind of climb out of the gutter a little bit, and now they're headed right back down just as fast, you know? What do you think?
Well, that's part of the problem facing us in the future. We are not one people. We're a bunch of people facing off at each other in communities.
Yeah. I just wonder if that does go down, if people will really band together, or if it'll be a like everyone for themselves mentality. You know,
I asked someone the other day if they thought that the future could turn into Jericho, and they said yes. Didn't hesitate. So that's what I believe could very well happen. And others believe the same thing, Jericho.
Boy, I'll tell you, I hope not. I really do. I mean, a lot of people wish for the system to crash, you know? And I'm one that says, be careful what you wish for, because the other side isn't as pretty or as nice as you may think. And as bad as it is, as let me just say this, as bad as you think you've got it in the United States, you want to see what a third world country's like, or even fourth world, fifth world, whatever you want to call it, the bottom. You have no idea. Anybody that hasn't been there has no idea what that kind of life is or what it can be. And to be quite honest with you folks, we've got it pretty doggone good right now. It can be a hell of a lot worse. So be very careful about wishing, I hope the whole thing crashes and burns and everything else, because it's not going to be easy. There is no easy solution to this problem. Whether we tackle it at the ballot box or we or the system comes crashing down, it doesn't matter how you do it. There's no easy solution. Ain't that right, Griff?
I don't think the ballot. It's a great idea, but I don't think you're going to be able to. Never change anything like that.
No.
The only change that will occur has to be a total collapse and then other activity after that, and it's going to be rough.
Oh,
it's going to be really rough.
I totally agree.
And a lot of people in the United States are simply not equipped to deal with it.
No, they're not. We have become a very spoiled society. The United States has a very comfortable society. I mean, we cry like babies now that the NFL's on the verge of a strike. And to me, that's absolute crap. I just can't believe it. But I mean, there's been crazier things. But the fact is we're soft. We really are. We're soft. And we've lost a lot of those skills, a lot of those mindsets that you need to be able to survive in a crisis situation. And I hope that everybody listening to this show tonight takes advantage of the time that they have left to network with the people that you see in the chat room, or that in your research that you may come across and talk to, whether it be floating a message on YouTube or making a comment there. Use the expertise that everybody has together and network while we still have time, because as we've seen in Egypt, even a third world country or second world country like Egypt, with the flip of a switch, can shut that internet down. And the same thing can happen here, folks. The same thing can happen here. Well, Griff, we're almost out of time. Anything you want to say before we close out the show?
No, it's been interesting. I really do appreciate all of the people calling in.
Man, fantastic tonight.
Yes, and Tom and Diane and Dean down there in Texas. They were all in Texas.
Yeah, it was a Texas night tonight.
Mm-hmm,
yeah. It was very, very interesting that it kind of worked out that way. But folks,
who was the lady in Houston, Joe, with the petroleum background?
Texas was her name.
I don't think I know her.
No, I don't either.
I know everybody else, but I appreciate her calling in also.
No, me too. Folks, the next show is going to be Thursday evening at 8 o'clock Eastern. I encourage everybody to tune in. We'll get some guest information up as soon as I get it. But outside of that, Griff, I think the show is just about over.
Well, it's been enjoyable tonight, really.
No, I know. It was a great show. And, folks, again, Thursday evening, 8 o'clock Eastern. Until then, this is Joe Joseph. This is Freedomlink Radio. Have a pleasant evening, everybody.
Good night.